A spark ignited in the heart of Europe, a single gunshot that echoed through the continent, marking the beginning of what would become one of the deadliest conflicts in human history. This is the tale of the Great War, the war to end all wars, known today as World War I. It was the summer of 1914. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria by a Serbian nationalist set off a chain of events that led to the outbreak of war across Europe. The complicated web of alliances, rivalries, and tensions that had been growing for years suddenly snapped. A month after the assassination, Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia, bringing Russia into the fray to defend its Slavic brethren. Germany, allied with Austria-Hungary, saw this as an act of aggression and declared war on Russia. France, bound by treaty to Russia, found itself at war with Germany and, by extension, Austria-Hungary. By August, the conflict had spread like wildfire. Germany marched into neutral Belgium, prompting Britain to declare war on Germany. Suddenly, a continental war had become a global one, with nations from around the world drawn into the conflict. The war was fought on multiple fronts, but none was as infamous or as deadly as the Western Front. Here, in the mud and the blood, opposing armies dug into the ground, creating a network of trenches that stretched from the North Sea to the Swiss border. The Eastern Front, meanwhile, saw vast movements of troops and battles over large swathes of land. The war also spilled into the Middle East, Africa, and even the waters of the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, making it a truly global conflict. The war saw the introduction of new and deadly technologies. Tanks rumbled across the battlefield for the first time, airplanes soared above the trenches, and submarines lurked beneath the waves. Chemical weapons were used, causing horrific injuries and deaths. After 4 long years of brutal conflict, the war finally came to an end on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month of 1918, when an armistice was signed between the Allies and Germany. The war left behind a shattered Europe, millions of dead and wounded, and a world forever changed. Now, to summarize, World War I began with the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand in 1914 and was sparked by a complex web of alliances and rivalries. It quickly spread across Europe and then the globe, drawing in nations from around the world. The war was characterized by trench warfare, particularly on the Western Front, and saw the introduction of new deadly technologies. After 4 years of brutal conflict, the war ended with the signing of an armistice in 1918, leaving a lasting impact on the world. This was a war of firsts, a war of great change, and a war that reshaped the world. It was a war that showed the devastating power of modern warfare and the terrible cost of global conflict. This was World War I,